The gauntlet for the Phoenix Suns. Now, like I know how I feel about this, and I think I know how Gambo feels about this. That I was really looking forward to this stretch with the Suns at or near full strength. And obviously, we're going to be deprived of that. And not just because I wanted them to maintain their position in the West, grow upon their position in the West. I just wanted to see. I wanted to see how they, at their best, matched up against other teams at their best. And having Devin Booker out, he's been ruled out tonight, deprives us of that, and probably will deprive us of that for at least another week, maybe more, depending on the severity of this. The gauntlet is here, Gambo, for the Phoenix Suns. Started on Sunday against Oklahoma City, but NBA.com today had a note that pointed out that if you look at teams ranked by net rating, right, the difference between their offensive rating and their defensive rating, the Suns are playing 15 of their final 22, now 14 of their final 21 games against the top 8 teams in the NBA in terms of net rating. Boston, Oklahoma City, Minnesota, the Cavs, the Pelicans, the Clippers, the Nuggets, and the Bucks. 14 of their final 21 games are against those 8 teams. And you're going to have to do it without Devin Booker. And that's tough.
The biggest challenge to me may not even be the Nuggets. It might be the Celtics, because it just might be their year. They're doing, things that are just incredible with what they've done, things that just haven't been done before. The way they're beating teams. I think I sent you a note yesterday on that. That was just incredible. That, wow, just how good the Celtics are. And the point differential with what they're winning games by is just absolutely
I don't recall
remarkable.
The numbers, but it's shocking. The way they're winning these games, it's shocking. Yeah,
it's shocking. I mean, that's their third. They had 3 50-point wins this year.
Yeah,
they beat the Warriors 140-88. They beat. It's incredible what they've been doing. They've just been winning by these large margins. It just seems like it could be their year. That would have been a nice test just to see where you're at, to see if you match up with them. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I can't ultimately judge these games against these teams if Devin Booker's not playing. I mean, it's one of the. If you're the Nuggets, can you judge a game against somebody else if Jamal Murray's not playing? If you're the Lakers, can you do it if Anthony Davis isn't playing? Can you do it if you're the Warriors and Steph's not playing? Can you do it if you're the Celtics and Jaylen Brown or Tatum's not playing?
No, you can't.
It's hard. It's hard to do. You could try, but it's, how do you know? How do you know what would have happened if Devin Booker would have played? You don't.
No, you don't. And so you're going to have to go through at least some of this gauntlet without him. Now, at some point, you'll get him back. And again, we still haven't gotten official word from the Suns on how long he's going to be out, but we're still thinking it's going to be, 7, 10 days, somewhere maybe a little less, maybe a little more, but hopefully right around that range. It is interesting. This is how light the Suns' schedule has been up until this point, and 2, how banged up they've been all year long, to point out that among these top 8 teams, again, ranked by net rating, Boston, OKC, Minnesota, Cleveland, the Pelicans, the Clippers, the Nuggets, and the Bucks, the Suns have only played those 8 teams 8 times so far this year combined, and they've only played 3 of those games when all 3 of Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant have been available.
2-1?
2-1, and that's wins over the Pelicans, which was one of their better wins of the year, and then a win against the Milwaukee Bucks, which, if everyone recalls, no Damian Lillard. He was hurt. Chris Middleton left that game because he hurt himself in the middle of that game, too. That's it, 2-1.
Yeah. I guess the New Orleans win was a good win for them. I mean, that was on the road against New Orleans, and Durant had a great game, and Booker had 50 or 52 or 54 something. Booker had 50 something in that game, and they won that one, and he was great. Like, he just absolutely dominated that basketball game. So. That was, if you want to say that's the best win of the season, you might be able to say that on the road against a full team in which they had Zion, they had Ingram, they had McCollum, they had all their guys.
I think that probably was the best one of the season. In fact, if memory serves, I can't remember exactly the point total for Devin, but I know it was a big night. If memory serves, that was their first game after the big rally against the Sacramento Kings. And the discourse and the conversation going into that game against the Pelicans was, did the Kings game wake them up? Was the Kings game the launching pad for the big three? Was that the moment things started to turn? And when they beat the Pelicans, I think a lot of us thought, yes, that was. The Kings game was the launching pad. The Kings game was the moment. And ever since then, it's been real tough. I've been getting all the stats that we've been mentioning here have been coming from the story that was on NBA.com, in which they kind of look through it was like a power ranking, basically. I don't know how else to describe it. They mentioned a couple of other things for the Phoenix Suns. Some of this probably won't surprise you at all. The turnovers, and the turnovers continue to be a big issue. There is no team in the NBA, well, there are two, that have had the biggest jump in turnover rate from last season to this season.
Right.
You know, the third biggest jump in the entire NBA from what their turnover rate was a year ago to what it is now.
Yeah, but I'll ask you, Burnsy, like, shouldn't that have been expected? You went from a guy who has one of the best assist-to-turnover rates in the history of the game to not having a point guard. Should we not have expected that there was going to be a big increase in the amount of turnovers the Suns had?
I guess it depends on how big is big. You know, like the third largest in the NBA? I don't know if I would have thought that on a team with Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal. You know, like big, yes. Like a jump? Yeah, I would have thought a jump. But the third biggest jump in the NBA? I don't know. I guess I just trusted Devin Booker and Beal and KD with the ball a little bit more than that to think it'd be the third biggest jump. I would have thought.
I mean, you're talking about a player. The only players that had a better assist-to-turnover ratio was John Stockton and Jason Kidd. Chris Paul's third all-time.
Yeah.
You're talking about a guy who just took care of the basketball better than only two players in the history of the game took care of the basketball better than he did. So to go from that to anybody would have been a drop-off, but then to go to – like without having a true point guard and just having your ball handles handle the ball, I guess in some ways, maybe we shouldn't have been shocked that number is what it is.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't have. Maybe we should have expected something like this coming. I'll swear by it, though. I never would have thought it would have been like this. What it's meant, and this is something the Phoenix Suns do, unfortunately, lead the league in. They're averaging about 4 fewer shooting opportunities than their opponents, according to NBA.com. That's the worst discrepancy in the NBA by a healthy margin. In other words, the number of shots, the math that we've talked about a lot on this show, the Suns are losing the math game by the worst margin of any team in the NBA. And according to their numbers, it's not close. Like, it's the Suns by a mile in terms of the shot attempts. That's bad. That's really bad.
Yeah, and that's part of the issues with, you know, when you're turning the ball over and there's more steals and offensive rebounds and all of these things is, you know, we said it the other day, 11 more shots in the first game, the Houston game, and 11 more shots in the net. Like, you can't keep losing that battle. Like, you just can't keep losing that battle where these other teams are getting all these extra shots against you because they're not going to miss all of them.
Yeah.
You give a team 11 extra shots and they make 4 of them, that's 8 extra points.
Thanks for watching Burns and Gambo. Click to see more from the guys and hit the button in the middle to subscribe so you never miss a video from Arizona sports.